Hey guys, we're back for the second half of sorry, I'm starting my timer, of the chapter 16 lecture. So yesterday we went through number 6. We talked about some ways we can save energy in transportation. We're going to move on specifically to motor vehicles, some more energy efficient motor vehicles. So we're on number 7, which is on the back of your reading guide if you printed. Okay, so this is where we're headed. So in 1991, they kind of start designing these super efficient ultralight cars. They're small. Nope, that's the next one. They can get up to 300 miles per gallon. We just haven't really seen them on the market. So that's kind of a prototype research type thing still. The gas electric hybrid, which I know some people have, a decent amount of people have, has grown in popularity. You've got this small traditional gas powered engine. And then you have this battery powered electric motor for accelerating and hill climbing. And so you kind of have this combo. It's become more affordable for people. It's become much more common to see. Then you have your like plug-in hybrid, like your Tesla kind of thing, which I know one of my students has at least. You can travel 30 to 60 miles on electricity alone. Then you have this small gas motor that kicks in. It recharges the battery and extends the driving range up to 370 miles. And then we charge it, right? I always picture like at the corners in that underground parking lot, underground parking garage area, there's like a place to plug in your car. And then you've got a fuel cell, which we're not going to talk about a whole lot because one of the renewable energy presentations that you guys will be working on next week, a group will have hydrogen fuel cells. But the basic idea is you have hydrogen producing electricity. It combines with oxygen, makes water, so it's really clean. So it's super efficient. There's no moving parts. There's really no pollution. There's little maintenance. But they're expensive to make. It's negative net energy yield right now, which again, another group will talk about. So we're kind of going to leave that for now. Good. So now let's look at new buildings. We're designing buildings that save money and energy. So again, this is all about energy efficiency. That was number 8. Fuel cells was 8. Now we're on 10, and then we'll go back to 9, I believe. So green architecture, talking about ways to improve energy efficiency of new buildings. So kind of here's our list. Relying upon natural lighting. So those are our like southern exposure windows, which in the winter, the sun is in more of the southern hemisphere, and so you get more natural light. Solar heating, either by traditional panels or by passive solar heating. Again, a group's going to talk about that, so I won't. Insulated windows. My husband and I got new windows a few years ago, and it makes quite a difference with our energy efficiency. And then looking at energy efficient appliances and lighting. I kind of showed you those light bulbs in the last video. I don't think we have Energy Star appliances like within a few feet of me. I was looking for it. Okay, so that should be number 10. Obviously, there's more. Your book has more. You might know of more, but that's just a few. So now let's talk about living roofs. Any building that has a flat roof can be made into a green roof. Okay, so these are specifically designed with soil and vegetation. In the winter, it's going to insulate so that your heat bills aren't as much. In the summer, it's going to absorb heat from the sun. It's also going to absorb some water. And then you can kind of, like some people, plant things for vegetation that you can harvest. So I know I've been up on the roof with Mr. Farley looking to see if that's feasible at Brookfield East. He's very open to it. We just haven't really made a lot of progress. UW-Stevens Point, almost all their buildings, it's a very environmentally conscious school. Almost all their buildings have green roofs. And so it's going to also kind of avoid runoff then. And I have a picture on the next slide. Back to number 10, if you want to add some more. Super insulation. Those are houses that would need no heating system. These are kind of out there. This is like a straw bale construction. And then you can get your building certified through the LEED, which is the Council for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. You can get grants and whatnot too. So my husband and I got married in a LEED certified building, which is the Schlitz Audubon Nature Center, which is a certified green, sustainably built building. Okay. So the next picture I have, so this is a green roof in New York City. I was so confused for a while looking at this because I was like, I don't understand. Like, are the plants inside and we're looking out? No, that's the reflection of the city in the windows. So you see a lot of like mums and like perennials, like kind of short, scrubby, close to the ground because it is going to be windy up there. And then it's also really nice for whoever's working in that building, I'm sure. It kind of looks like an office building on the inside. Copenhagen, Denmark, and Toronto, Canada now require green roofs on any flat-topped building that's new construction. Anybody want to take a guess as to the most green roofs in the U.S. for a city? No, my family's not paying attention. That's fine. It's Chicago. Chicago actually has the most living roofs, which is not that far from us. All right, looking at number 11 now. So new construction we talked about. Let's talk about what about existing buildings? Like, what can we do? And some of it we kind of already mentioned. You guys will be conducting an energy audit of your home at some point, 2.5 weeks from now, probably, where you're looking at what kind of stuff does my home have. It's going to be kind of an at-home lab. But looking at energy efficient windows, plugging leaks, you can get people to come in and re-insulate your walls and like blow insulation into places so that you don't have as much heat escaping, especially in attics and basements. I'm sure all of you have a programmable thermostat, but using that to heat your house more efficiently, using those Energy Star appliances and those lights that we talked about, and then motion sensors, which we don't have at our house, but like turning lights on and off. So those are all ways that are just in existing homes that we can do. So this is number 11, okay? So if you look at this thermogram, this is showing heat loss at a house in Great Britain. On the left is before. So the redder it is, the more heat that's being lost. And then they had someone come do an audit and put some insulation in. And then the picture on the right shows how much heat loss after being insulated. And you can still see there's some red areas like the tops of windows and the panels and the doors. But overall, it's a pretty dramatic difference in terms of what some insulation can do for the house. So what I'm going to show you is just kind of a graphic showing how you can save energy where you live. Oh, this is number 12. It says list 5 ways you can save energy where you live. Just pick some logical ones. Okay, so you see one of my favorites is looking at outside. Plant deciduous trees to block summer sun and let in winter sunlight. So that south-facing exposure that we talked about lets in that winter sunlight. But if you're planting trees there to block in the summer, that's going to allow you the shade when it gets really hot. Deciduous trees like we have in Wisconsin will drop their leaves to let that sun in winter. That I guess I'm pointing that direction is south for us. We don't really have a lot of windows over there, which kind of sucks. Like our house isn't built very well for that. Switching out light bulbs, that's definitely something that you could do. Even like Christmas lights, that's something that I've struggled with because I like the look of the regular Christmas lights better. Turning off things when they're not in use, especially during this time where like everyone in your family is using electronics all the time. Setting the thermostat as low as you can in winter and as high as you can in summer. I'm definitely someone that in winter I can go low. Like, hey, sure, let's put it at 57. But I get pretty crabby in the summer when it gets to like 70. Let's be honest. I like it cool. Look at the clothes washer stuff. Hang clothes on racks for drying. Set a limit on your hot water heater for how hot it gets. Use a microwave rather than an oven. We just recently got an air fryer, which uses a lot less energy than a whole oven for making food, and it's really good. Run only full loads of dishwashers. There's a whole bunch of them. So you're supposed to pick 5 that like you could actually be involved with. And then finally, why do you still waste so much energy? Why is this still such a big problem? So this goes back to subsidies. So energy still remains artificially cheap. The energy industry, including big oil, is subsidized more than any other industry besides transportation. And so if it's not on our radar in terms of cost, it's usually not on our radar in terms of environmental cost. So that goes back to the market price versus full cost pricing that we talked about last lecture. There aren't a whole lot of long lasting incentives. So every once in a while, they'll do like rebates or like tax breaks, deduction type things on taxes, but like they're less and less and less and less, unless you're doing big things like solar panels. There aren't really loans there either, like out there from banks and like private loans. Like, hey, I want to make environmental improvements to my personal structure. There aren't that many low interest loans other than like a regular home equity loan to do that. And then the last one is just lack of education. The government isn't putting a priority on it. There's just not a lot of information out there unless the consumer is seeking it out themselves. Okay, so renewable energy is the last part of this lecture. You guys are going to do some presentations on them. Start thinking about that. Here are kind of your choices: solar, hydroelectric, wind, biomass, which is like burning different types of biotic organic material, geothermal, which uses the heat from the earth, hydrogen fuel cells. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going to be looking at. This shows nuclear, coal, oil, natural gas, and then kind of the renewables and how recently it's been climbing, and it's projected to climb even more. I actually think coal has dipped more than this as well. Natural gas has gone up. But this is where we're heading. Think about who you might want to be in a presentation group with, and that will be next week. Have a good long Easter weekend. Bye.